Meatballs. I'm so happy to see you today. It's been a big day here at Team Zimmerself. Team Zimmerself is what Uncle Ben and I call our house. Team Zimmerself headquarters, because we're the members of Team Zimmerself. Uncle Ben is making pies, and I'm going to go help him make pies in just a minute. So that's one thing that's making me happy today. The other thing that is making me very happy today is we got to talk to Uncle Ben's sister, Abigail, and she lives in Baltimore, Maryland, and she's a nurse, so she deserves a lot of good things right now because she's working really hard. But today was her day off, so we got to talk to her, and we got to see her dogs play, Otis and Scout, and that was just really fun. So those are two things that are making me happy today, pies and good people, and I know that you're good people too. Now, it's still raining here in Louisville. It's raining a lot. So that's why I picked today's book. It's really funny. It's also kind of yummy. And it's going to make us all really hungry for dinner. And those pies that Uncle Ben are making. Also, Uncle Ben says hello. All right, are you guys ready to read? Okay, let's do it. I just love this book. Today we're going to read Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs, written by Judy Barrett and drawn by Ron Barrett. And Ron and Judy used to be married, so that's very happy. Let's read. Are you ready? Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs, written by Judy Barrett and drawn by Ron Barrett. We were all sitting around the big kitchen table. It was Saturday morning, pancake morning. Mom was squeezing oranges for juice. Henry and I were betting on how many pancakes we could each eat. And Grandpa was doing the flipping. Look at Grandpa flip so high. And there's a dog over here. I'm never going to miss a dog. Seconds later, something flew through the air, headed towards the kitchen ceiling. Is it a pancake? The doggy's chasing the cat. And landed right on Henry. After we realized that the flying object was only a pancake, we all laughed, even Grandpa. Breakfast continued quite uneventfully. All the other pancakes landed in the pan, and all of them were eaten, even the one that landed on Henry. That night, touched off by the pancake incident at breakfast, Grandpa told us the best tall-tale bedtime story he'd ever heard. Across an ocean, over lots of huge bumpy mountains, across 3 hot deserts and 1 smaller ocean. Oh my goodness, look at all that. There lay the tiny town of Chew and Swallow. Look at all that you have to get there to get to Chew and Swallow. In most ways, it was very much like any other tiny town. It had a main street lined with stores, houses with trees and gardens around them, a schoolhouse, about 300 people, and some assorted cats and dogs. Okay, guys, tell me more about these cats and dogs. I like the kite that's flying there. That's kind of cool. And this movie theater playing a show called Dinner at 8, which is kind of late for me to eat dinner. It's a dance school here and a hardware store. What a nice little town Chew and Swallow is. But there were no food stores in the town of Chew and Swallow. They didn't need any. The sky supplied all the food they could possibly want. What? That's so cool. The only thing that was really different about Chew and Swallow was its weather. It came 3 times a day at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything that everyone ate came from the sky. There's a kitty waiting for it to rain food. Wow! Whatever the weather served, that was what they ate. But it never rained rain, it never snowed, and it never blew just wind. It rained things like soup and juice. It snowed mashed potatoes and green beans, and sometimes the wind blew in storms of hamburgers. Oh my gosh, look at those clumps of mashed potatoes and peas and all the hamburgers. Man, that's yummy. I'm so glad we're eating dinner next. The people could watch the weather report on television in the morning, and they would even hear a prediction for the next day's food. I like that chair. It's a really happy chair. Look, there's a television and some fun ties in the closet and a dog. When the townspeople went outside, they carried their plates, cups, glasses, forks, spoons, knives, and napkins with them. That way, they would always be prepared for any kind of weather. If there were leftovers, and there usually were, people took them home and put them in their refrigerators in case they got hungry between meals. You know, that's very good. It's very good to not waste food. It's raining pie! I'll try to rain pie down on wherever you are, okay? The menu varied. By the time they woke up in the morning, breakfast was coming down. After a brief shower of orange juice, low clouds of sunny-side eggs moved in, followed by pieces of toast. butter and jelly sprinkled down for the toast, and most of the time, it rained milk afterwards. That squirrel is so happy. For lunch one day, frankfurters already in their rolls blew in from the northwest about 5 miles an hour. There were mustard clouds nearby. Then the wind shifted to the east and brought in baked beans. A drizzle of soda finished off the meal. Look, he's caught one on a plate. That's so cool. Dinner one night consisted of lamb chops, becoming heavy at times with occasional ketchup. Periods of peas and baked potatoes were following by gradual clearing, with a wonderful jello setting in the west. Oh my goodness, look at that jello vista. That's really beautiful. The sanitation department of Chew and Swallow had a rather unusual job for a sanitation department. It had to remove food that fell on the houses and sidewalks and lawns. The workers cleaned up things after every meal and fed all the dogs and cats. Oh, that's so nice! Then they emptied some of it into the surrounding ocean for the fish and turtles and whales to eat. The rest of the food was put back into the earth so that the soil would be richer for the people's flower gardens. That's just so great. They made sure that everybody got fed and nothing went to waste. It's really a nice thing. Life for the townspeople was delicious until the weather took a turn for the worst. The Chew and Swallow Digest. Spaghetti ties up town! Record-breaking pasta fall causes chaos. Oh my gosh, look at all that spaghetti. One day there was nothing but gorgonzola cheese all day long. Oh, that's so stinky. And the next day there was only broccoli, all overcooked. Oh, that's so nasty. And the next day were Brussels sprouts and peanut butter with mayonnaise. What? Don't eat that, guys. That's nasty. Another day there was a pea soup fog. No one could see where they were going, and they could barely find the rest of the meal that got stuck in the fog. Oh my goodness, things are really confusing in Chew and Swallow. The food was getting larger and larger, and so were the portions. The people were getting frightened. Violent storms blew up frequently. Awful things were happening. One Tuesday, there was a hurricane of bread and rolls all day long and into the night. There were soft rolls and hard rolls, some with seeds and some without. It was white bread and rye and whole wheat toast. Most of it was larger than they had ever seen bread and rolls before. It was a terrible day. Everyone had to stay indoors, roofs were damaged, and the sanitation department was beside itself. The mess took the workers 4 days to clean up, and the sea was full of floating rolls. To help out, the people piled up as much bread as they could in the backyards. The birds picked at it a bit, but it just stayed there and got staler and staler. There was a storm of pancakes one morning and a downpour of maple syrup that nearly flooded the town. A huge pancake covered the school. No one could get it off because of its weight, so they had to close the school. My gosh, have you ever seen such a gigantic pancake? Look at that giant fork! This is just craziness. Lunch one day brought 15-inch drifts of cream, cheese, and jelly sandwiches. Everyone ate themselves sick, and the day ended with a stomachache. Now, I do like cream cheese and jelly sandwiches, but I think a whole day of them would make me sick. There was an awful salt and pepper wind accompanied by an even worse tomato tornado. That's funny to say. People were sneezing themselves silly and running to avoid the tomatoes. The town was a mess. There were seeds and pulp everywhere. The sanitation department gave up. The job was too big. Everyone feared for their lives. They couldn't go outside most of the time. Many houses had been badly damaged by giant meatballs. Stores were boarded up, and there was no more school for the children. Don't worry, guys. There's going to be a happy ending. I just know it. So a decision was made to abandon the town of Chew and Swallow. It was a matter of survival. The people glued together the giant pieces of stale bread, sandwich style with peanut butter, took an absolute necessities with them, and sailed on their rafts for a new land. They've got pizza as sails. That's kind of funny. After being afloat for a week, they finally reached a small coastal town which welcomed them. Bread had held up surprisingly well, enough for them to build temporary houses for themselves out of it. Look, they got bread houses. That's really nice. Oh, they're hugging. It's so nice that they made it safely to a new place. The children began school again, and the adults all tried to find places for themselves in the new land. The biggest change they had to make was getting used to buying food at the supermarket. They found it odd that the food was kept on shelves, packaged in boxes, cans, and bottles. Meat that had to be cooked was kept in large refrigerators. Nothing came down from the sky except rain and snow. The clouds above their heads were not made of fried eggs, and no one got hit by a hamburger ever again. That's probably a good thing. And nobody dared to go back to Chew and Swallow to find out what had happened to it. They were too afraid. Henry and I were awake until the very end of Grandpa's story. I remember his goodnight kiss. The next morning we woke up to see snow falling outside our windows. We ran downstairs for breakfast and ate it a little faster than usual so we could go sledding with Grandpa. Oh, sledding is so fun. It's funny that even as we were sliding down the hill, we thought we saw a giant pat of butter at the top and could almost smell mashed potatoes. Look, butter, mashed potatoes. The end. Wow, that was such a silly book. I liked the parts where they didn't waste food. It's very important to make sure that everybody has enough food and it all can go around and that we don't waste it so we can have enough for everybody, right? We want to be able to have enough. Leftovers are a good thing. And I like the part where the people, even when it was really scary, they all banded together and came up with a plan together. I think it's nice when you stick together, especially when things are a little bit scary, don't you? Anyway, I hope that your dinner is as yummy as it sounds like the food was in Chew and Swallow. And I'm going to go make pie with Uncle Ben, and I'll see you tomorrow. Feel a hug from wherever I am to wherever you are. Love you. Bye.